Hello and welcome back to 16 years and now kid free. Right, you find me here doing something that I am quite interested in, which is history. I love learning about history, and even though the place that I'm not staying in, I'm pretty lucky to stay here. I'm actually looking around today. Is the house of Mary Queen of Scots, and yeah, it's I've studied. Well, I wouldn't say studied it, but I've researched it enough in the past to know sort of what was going on, because in her early life, she was basically born, and then King Henry VIII, because everybody loves King Henry VIII, what an awesome guy, not, decided that his young son, who didn't actually survive that long, Edward, was to marry Mary Queen of Scots. Or Mary Scott at that point, but her mum knowing the nous, because she was already, she was a queen straight away, because the reason that Henry VIII wanted them married is to unite England and Scotland. So Mary's parents were like, nah, not having that. We're going to do the ceremony, make her queen, and then what we're going to do is we're going to ship her out to France, where she spent a lot of her early life. A lot of her early life, over there. So she got quite a French upbringing, which at times is good, but other times a little bit snooty. And of course, unlike Henry and England, she was a Catholic, which really didn't go over well. She did try and change at one point, but we'll get into that later. Right, I know this looks like just a wall and everything like that, but if you look how high up we are, and that's what I love about this, is that you've got children out there playing in the gardens of Mary Queen of Scots. How brilliant is that? But yeah, you can see how high up we are, and this was actually the front door. And even though the entrance is downstairs now, that was actually the kitchen, and there wasn't actually any way of getting from the kitchen up here unless you went through there. And of course, where you're that high up, if anybody was to attack this place in Jedburgh, because I'm gangster, not, attack the place, so they can kick the stairs away and then nobody can actually get up. And we're actually in the banquet hall, and as she says in her own words, you can see the size of this. It's quite a big room, but she says, oh, it was a tiny banquet room, not what she was used to in France. And apparently back then the Scots were all majorly into salt. You're going to have to bear with me, it's going to be a long video. Into salt, and because it's always so wet and miserable up here, they were like, well, how do you keep it dry? So what they have, a fireplace and a pot, and everybody argued about where they sat around the table in conjunction to the pot of salt, because it was that valuable. And they also like sugar as well. Me and my daughters watched a program one Christmas about medieval diets and the sugar, and they took an orange, took the inside out, crushed it all into sugar, and then put it back into the orange, and then dipped the orange in melted glucose sugar, and then covered it in sugar. Do you really think they have a thing about sugar? And then if we go into the next room, because you've got little portraits all around here as well, and it is quite nice. And you've got this massive rug there. Looks like a tapestry, similar to the one of 1066, which I can't remember the name. And then as we go into this room, you've got the two sides of everything. You know, this side you've got the Mary Queen of Scots, and then her first husband, Lord Dudley, that everybody accused her of murdering, but, you know, we'll get into that bit in a minute. And then she had some friends and whatnot that ended up either going against her or betraying her. And then over this side you've got Queen Elizabeth, which was Mary's cousin, which they never actually met, even though you had the Queen of Scotland and the Queen of England. And then you had her trusted advisor, who absolutely hated Mary, and then you had Sir Francis Walsingham. I will get that in it. And he was Queen Mary's spy. And then we've got all these people up here, which I can't remember. And then over this side you actually had Mary's very trusted advisors. So, and then we take a little trip along the way, and then we go this way. Oh my word! And then over here is basically it mentions and about. There's something I missed downstairs. No, I'll go and take a photo of that later. But yeah, you see what I mean. And you've got some various bits that have been found over the time. A thimble because she was repairing a dress on the road. That is actually a watch, which I didn't realise they had back then. And then a stirrup and a cigar box. And this down here, the cannon, was actually a gift to this chap up here. I can't remember all the names, even though I've just listened to the audio book. Bear with me, I'm just trying to give you an overview. But if you want to know the picture I'll be taking, or the bit downstairs, it's actually got a lock of Mary Queen of Scots hair and a letter that went with it that was found in Holyrood. And then we come up in here to basically where it started ending for her, because yeah, basically it started ending it for her because everybody was getting rolled up, and then somebody, nobody knows who, killed her husband, Lord Dudley. So Mary, being the smart person, or not so smart person, thought, do you know what, I'll marry somebody else, and you can research that name yourself. But he ended up being a Protestant. So not only did she upset all the Protestants, being a Catholic, and then marrying a Protestant, in a Protestant ceremony, she managed to basically stop all her, there's a word for that, but basically all the people from France didn't like her either, or all the Catholics didn't like her. And then, right, move this along a little bit further. I'm trying to keep out of people's way, but I end up catching up with them. And then, oh, I'll go down. There's another photo as well, which is one of Queen Mary Queen of Scots death mask, but I'll put the pictures up separately. But basically after that, she annoyed everyone. She got done over by a lot of people. And then she was like, right, she got arrested, and then she escaped dressed as a servant, and then managed to go across the Solway Firth, trying to escape everything like that. And then Queen Elizabeth was like, no, I'm not interested in her, not interested in her. So she ended up being in prison in, lots, Carlisle, Sheffield, Bolton, all over the place. But she would never take an audience. Queen Elizabeth wouldn't take an audience from Queen Mary the entire time she was in prison. And then when she found out that she had somewhat to do with the plot to kill Queen Mary, and Queen Elizabeth finally gave up the thing and went, do you know what, sod it, execute her. So yeah, and they didn't even allow her to see her chaplain before she died to confess her sins, which I think, of everything that's gone on, religion was religion back in them days. But hey, there we go. And that's just a short version of the life of Mary Queen of Scots. Can't really argue with that. Do you know what? As we're going back down, I'll give you a quick show, but I will take pictures as well. I don't know if that's fascinating, disturbing, or just intriguing. And on that note, like I always say, you got to come here. One of the great things of it, before I sign out, is I actually donated £2.50 and brought the £2.50 audio book out of here, because as anybody knows and followed my adventures, I hate National Trust and British Heritage for, just charging through the roof to learn about history. Whereas this, if you don't want the audio book and you don't want to give a donation, you can just have a wander around. And on that note, like I always say, take it easy, keep adventuring, and love you, bye.